Welcome back, everybody, to a brand new episode on the HydroSmp. Today, we are going to go getting started on our fresh new mega base, but first, we have to go and review some awesome things that happened overnight. So, we're going to go ahead and head over to our starter base and actually show you what happened last night. I am so excited for this episode because we are finally going to get started on that amazing base that I kind of have awesome plans for. But we're going to head in here and look, everybody, my chests are organized. Now, I can't exactly take entire credit because we do have another person joining our base and they kind of organized it all for me. But they're organized, and we even have a start to a bigger chest organization down here. And then we also did this trial chamber. We went ahead and cleared it out and just kind of battled the extra mobs and then also blocked off the spawners so they can't see us, and then we won't get its potential for more XP farms and then also some awesome loot as well. But we had a fun time exploring our trial chamber, but what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and start gathering some resources to start on our beautiful base today. Now, for this base, you can see we're gathering spruce. We're also going to gather a bunch of deep slate, some other those stones. I'm planning to use some of those white blocks like calcite, wool, and some of that pale oak as well. I have a bunch of that smooth granite that I'm also going to use kind of the top part to kind of add that extra color that this base is definitely going to need. And we're going to have a big watchtower, I feel, just to kind of start our kingdom out. Eventually, I want to make some sort of castle theme, but I feel like a good watchtower will be an amazing starter base and be able to move all of our things to there. But we went ahead and found some of these villagers as I was exploring, and we're actually gonna kind of row these guys on the grass and take them back to our base. Now, I died and the skeleton picked at my elytra. I didn't know that skeletons could do that, but if you never knew skeletons could pick up elytras, here's your proof, everybody. But I'm assuming that my villagers also just died because I did end up dying at night, and it looks like, yep, they died. But we found another one and we're rowing back to our base with our villager. He might think this is kidnapping, but I don't think it is. I think it is just he is willingly coming to join our base. So, grab some of this sugarcane, and we are going to take this guy, and then we're going to go back and grab another guy as well. And we're going to get some villagers in our base, have them for safekeeping for now, but we'll definitely be using them longer down the road for some sort of project. But I figured this would be a good thing to have for now. So, we're just going to go ahead and head up on this hill with our villager. I'm hoping to get some good trades out of these guys, but a good private iron farm as well as some other farms would be great as well. So we're just going to actually jump up here and kind of pillar. This would be a lot easier if I had a happy gas, because I know that mob transporting I think is easier now with them. I haven't actually got one of those yet, but I figured we're just going to do it the old-fashioned way, and we're going to box him in so he doesn't die like our other two did. And hopefully we can actually keep this one, unlike the other two. Perfect. We got him all in this nice little box. But we'll get this guy in here for safekeeping. We'll run off to sleep real quick, and then we'll get both him and hopefully a friend in next to our little starter base over here. You may see on the side that we just kind of flew past that it is our little stone gradient that we're going to go for this tower that we're going to build, and hopefully throughout our castle as well we're going to have that stone gradient. But we will head down, grab that other villager, grab a friend, and then we're going to go ahead and get started right away on that amazing tower build. The villagers all secure. We are going to go ahead and start on kind of an outline of our castle and also kind of our tower area. I originally did start making the castle outline, but then I decided that why not just make like a tower to start with, kind of going off of that gradients that we're going to use, just to make sure that we're actually going to like this block palette and not have to break down an entire castle to change the palette versus just a little watchtower. But we are gonna definitely get started on our first tower today, and next episode we will see a major expansion onto that as well. But what we're gonna do now is we're gonna jump into a quick time lapse of me building up the foundation of this tower, and we'll see you all in a little bit. Now, you're definitely probably wondering why that time lapse ended. I tried. I really tried. I was really excited for the time lapse. It was a really nice time lapse. I have the file of it. But for some reason, my computer says, I don't want to save that file, and we're not going to be able to use it for this YouTube video. I tried for like 10 hours. I couldn't get the file to work. So, instead, you're going to get me placing every single block by hand with my lovely narrating. It's going to be great. It's not going to be as good as an awesome 10-second time lapse of this build that took me a whole day, but it's going to be a great final result, and we're going to get to do it together this way, which is definitely not cooler than a time lapse, but we get to do these amazing free cam shots, and we're going to build it up together anyway. But you can see that I kind of have the stone going up right now. I'm kind of getting a good height for it. As you might have seen, I'm just kind of checking to see where exactly or how high I need to make this stone layer. And then we're going to add another andesite layer on top. For this build, I did the deep slate for the bottom into like a tough mixture. That pale moss I also have going. I have this stone, and then we're going to do andesite at the top. Kind of a dark to light gradient of those things. And then our next layer, we're going to be doing that calcite that we'll see in a little bit. But for now, I just want to make that tower is tall enough. We don't want kind of a square tower. We want more of a tall, like skyscraper kind of shape versus a short, flat shape. So we'll get this andesite layer all built up here. We'll get a deep slate floor kind of put in here, so when I fly up here, I don't have to try 20 times to land on the sludge. And hopefully that makes it a little bit easier for when we do this next bit here. For the next bit, we're going to kind of go outwards a little bit more, kind of giving it that kind of texture it's going to need, so it's not so flat. Even though it's a block game, we don't like flat things here, so we're going to kind of round it out a little bit at the top. For this next layer here, I'm just using those upside down staircases with that stripped log, and then a fence at the end, and those trapdoors in the center. Kind of give more of a natural round arch look at the bottom of our white little layer here. This is going to give us some of that arch, as well as these upside down staircase at the end, kind of giving that visual effect that the arches are attached to the building rather than just floating. It gives us that sense of kind of support or foundation that a tower might need. But we can go ahead and take a look at it up top and kind of see what we're working with right now. As we fly down to our house, we can see our tower from a distance as we take a sleep real quick so those mobs stop killing us. But we are back and working on the second layer of our house. This beautiful white calcite mixed with that pale oak that I haven't gotten to use before in survival, but I really am liking this white wood as well as those stripped logs as well. I think they go really nice with the calcite, which was one of my favorites to use. And then next here, we're going to start using our spruce wood that we kind of gathered at the beginning of this episode. And we're going to kind of start on that next layer. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to make a little bit of detailing on the outside. I kind of want arches to kind of match those arches on the bottom layer that we were kind of going for. And then we will use this dark wood to kind of contrast that white that we have going on. But we're doing that same upside down staircase technique, and then we're going to go down and we are going to make some arches along the sides as well to kind of give more of that detail work that you might see in some of the larger buildings. But we can kind of see the little lift we got here. I am going to make the next layer off one more than the white layer, so kind of gradually getting bigger as the tower goes up. And then we got those big windows as well. But hopefully we can kind of get kind of a natural arch here. I don't want it too harsh. Kind of more of a subtle arch. I can get this staircase to place right. I kind of want it facing the other way. Just kind of go down here real quick. Get this staircase placing the correct way this time. It's just not wanting to go there, is it? Perfect. Now that we got that staircase there, we can kind of see what we're going with here. Kind of get a good look at it. I think that pattern's going to look pretty nice for what we're going for. I did also add those trapdoors up top to kind of give it more of that little detailing that we kind of talked about. It might not notice it too much up close, but kind of from a distance, that might be something you can kind of see. All those little detail bits kind of go together into one big puzzle. It looks like this side is a little bit off, so we'll have to adjust it. I don't really know how I got off there. But we fixed it and added the other 3 sides, and I think I'm really liking this archway that we got going on here. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to fill in those 4 corners to kind of match our little arches. Kind of get them lined up properly with the arch pattern we got going on here. But we're going to use that spruce wood as well and kind of pillar our way over there. We don't actually have scaffolding right now, so we're just using regular old blocks. But I'm just going to place some pretty basic planks and logs just kind of sitting in our corners here to kind of match. And I think that it will look perfect next to our lovely arches that we have. We'll add a little trapdoor at the bottom just to kind of give it a slight difference, so it's a little bit longer on the corners, but not too much. And I think that that will look great. We'll do another one around this corner while we're at it. I'm not really sure what this tower is going to be used for. I think for now it will kind of be our new base for now, until we can kind of get that castle built that I kind of want to do. But it might turn into like a big storage room. I had another survival world where I had a huge storage room with like multiple layers, and it had a chest for every block in the game. So I think it'd be really cool if we could kind of fit that into this building as well to kind of resemble that. But it will definitely be a huge upgrade from that little pale oak cabin that we made when we started. But now that we have that all done, I'm going to get those other 2 sides done, and then we can start on the next layer, which is going to be a granite layer. I thought the little bit of red would kind of give it a nice contrasting color than from what we're used to. Granite alongside that new pale oak is something I haven't really used before. I've always had access to it, but it's something that I really don't use unless I'm like mixing it in with a brick color. But I'm really excited to be able to use this in one of my bigger builds this season, just to kind of give us a sense of challenge and color change. Just to give us a new type of build to work with. Typically, I like building larger builds versus smaller builds. Like that small cabin isn't something I usually build, whereas if I'm in survival, I will typically try to build like big castles or giant medieval roofs. It's just something I've always been drawn to in Minecraft. You can kind of see the frame we have going on here. For this next layer, I'm kind of thinking that I want bigger windows than the smaller ones. Kind of like resembling how each floor gets bigger as we go up. I kind of want the windows to kind of get bigger as well. So this might actually have to go a little bit bigger than it is right now. But I'm thinking I'm going to start by kind of giving us this bottom layer here to kind of look to see what we're going for. Kind of get some of that regular granite mixed in there as well. I went and gathered some of that as well because I thought we could use some other varieties versus just the regular smooth or the regular polished granite for this build. But we're gonna go ahead and build that up, and we'll check back in a little bit. we are back with our first frame design. Now, I kind of tested a couple different things when I tried this, and I might still change it, but I'm really liking this kind of archway design. I wanted it big enough to make bigger windows, but not too big where they don't look like windows. These are kind of pushing the window size, but I think the scale of this tower will kind of be perfect for larger windows like this. And it won't really make that too much of a drastic difference than what we're used to. So we're gonna finish up those archways, and then we will start making the roof on this beautiful tower. Now that we got those beautiful arches all done, we're gonna go ahead and take these spruce fence gates to kind of add a trim around our upper layer here. And these will kind of look like support for our roof that we're gonna add on top here. I do really love the use of these gates facing inwards for giant builds like this. I'll typically use them on like when you see those layers increase by 1 as you go up a build, and then I'll kind of open them facing inwards. So not like that, but we're gonna face them inwards. So all of these will have to get broken. I thought I placed those other two correct using that block, but apparently they turned the other way around. But it might have been because I opened them on this side as well. Yeah, perfect. I'm going to place a nice little border around, and this will kind of look like the roof is supported versus just hanging off, which technically it would be supported since it's sitting on top of all these bricks. But that little sense of detail is always nice to have in a larger build like this, just because from a distance you can kind of see all those little details come into one big picture, and we can get a good feel for the entire build. Now that we got those all installed, we can kind of get a view from a distance here to kind of see what that kind of looks like in a larger build like that. You can kind of see them as we're flying away. It's not something you notice from too far, but once you start flying in range and kind of getting a closer look, you'll definitely see those. But what we're going to do is we're going to start placing this polished deep slate slabs around that little border, bring them out by 1, and then kind of raise it upwards, kind of resembling what I like to call a witch hat is going to be our style of roof today. I decided to go with all of these deep slate bricks and smooth slabs, kind of give us a little bit resemblance to our foundation darker layer, but also I had a ton of cobbled deep slate just laying around, and I thought these would be pretty cool to incorporate in our little deep slate roof. And then we also have it leading up into lighter shades of deep slate, and then I think we have some tuff as well at the top. But you can kind of see that witch hat kind of shape that we got going on here. And then, of course, the one thing this build was missing was a blue flag on the top, which I think brings the entire build together. It's kind of got that waving in the wind look to it as well. But I think it's a beautiful flag. It is kind of, you can kind of see that we're over cloud limit here. So the flag is kind of peeking up over the clouds in the rain. But I feel like it was a great addition to our tower. And it was definitely an amazing build to have built this episode. Now that we took a step back, we can really get a feel for how our tower is looking. I still have that flag support up there for now. We're just kind of in free cam right now, looking at our amazing tower. This is definitely not the end of this build. We are going to be adding more towers and details as the episodes progress, but for me, this has taken an entire day. So this is definitely a larger build. It's not going to be the biggest build, but it's definitely a good start to our builds on the HydroSmp. Now, this season, as you might have noticed, we're going to go for a medieval vibe with a big medieval castle, towers, and hopefully a village around the back as well. But I'm super excited to get started on a giant medieval village. This is going to be an amazing project, and I'm glad to have each and every one of you along for the journey with me. This will definitely take many episodes to complete. So as we go on, we'll hopefully get that time lapse working as well, so we can get some good time lapses of our builds too. But we'll fly back down now that that scaffolding's all broken. And we'll take a good look at our castle here. I'm really loving it. We're definitely gonna have to add some windows in here too, some of that stained white glass. It is an accidental mob farm though, if you might have heard. There are several mobs in that tower that I've kind of died to a couple times, but it is one nice tower overlooking the sky, and it's going to be a great watchtower for our kingdom. But that is it, everybody. I hope you all had an amazing episode, and I will catch you all in the next video with a ton of more building and hopefully some working time lapses. Thank you all for watching, and have a great night. See you all next time. Goodbye.